Feel the source, apprentice. Let it guide you.
Dass wir so viele Gesichter hier haben, Kollegen von anderen Ständen, viele Leute von der Presse und viele Fans und Gamer. Ja, jetzt erwartet uns was ganz Besonderes. Es gibt Menschen, die haben tolle Visionen. Aber es gibt halt Menschen, die bringen auch diese Visionen in die Realität rüber. Und derjenige, den ich jetzt präsentieren darf, da sind wir echt stolz drauf, ist einer der ganz, ganz großen der Gamer-Szene. Freut euch mit mir auf Peter Molyneux. Peter Molyneux wird euch erstmals hier in Europa live Spielszenen aus Fable für die Xbox. Ich werde Ihnen sagen, warum diese Entwicklung speziell für die Xbox, nur auf der Xbox so gemacht wird. Ich wünsche Ihnen viel Spaß. Manches haben wir ein bisschen was zum Essen, ein bisschen was zum Feiern. Ich wünsche Ihnen viel Spaß mit Peter Molyneux. Peter, the stage is yours.
Sorry, I don't speak any German. Well, I need to speak German swear words, actually. I'm up here with Simon Carter, who's the project lead on Fable, and we picked up this development machine at 5 o'clock this morning from the studio, and so this is actual live footage, not specially done for the show. So some things may work, some things may not, but please bear in mind this is in development code that you're going to see. So, firstly, what is Fable? It is a role-playing game, and I have always loved role-playing games. Simon and I have talked over the years that we've known each other. We've developed Dungeon Keeper together, I mean, if anyone remembers that. And we talked about role-playing games, and some of the things we spoke about were what really annoyed us about role-playing games. And the first thing was, we thought if we were going to do a role-playing game, we would have it so that the hero you could do anything you liked with. That we would set the role-playing game in a world that was simulated, so that if you wanted to go and be rude to someone, you could be. If you wanted to be a good guy, you could be the most noble good guy. If you wanted to be an evil guy, you could be the most noble, you'd be the most evil guy. So that's one of the fundamentals of what Fable is. But the other fundamental is that you should be able to, as you play the game, the world should react to what you like. So if you start doing some weird things, the world should react. So we'll just start off and we'll just go and get a quest. Now, some of the stuff you're going to see is very work in progress. What we're just going into now is called the Guild. It is where you get all your quests. It's where all other heroes meet, because in the Fable world there are lots of heroes trying to do heroic things. One of the challenges in Fable is that you are trying to be the most famous hero of all time. And you can just see that Simon has walked into the guild and there is a few tourists there. They just recognised you as being a bit of a celebrity, so they're clapping you. And he's going to go and pick up a quest. So let's go and see what quests are available at the moment. We've already set one. Simon's already accepted a quest. One of the things that with the questing system is that you can do a good side to a quest and an evil side. Are we going off to Orchard Farm? We're going off to a thing called Orchard Farm. There's a farmer at the Orchard Farm who has asked for a hero's help in protecting his property. And Simon has decided to be, what are you going to be, Simon? Good or evil?
I'm going to be good, I think.
He's going to be good. Well, of course, if I was playing it, I would almost certainly be evil in this quest, but there you go. And so Simon has chosen to protect the farmer, where he could have chosen to attack the farmer. So we'll just take you through the journey. So he has to take the journey through Greatwood. Now, first, a couple of things to say about the hero. this hero completely morphs to reflect how you're playing the game. If you're running along using a very heavy weapon, you'll notice that his arms will develop and develop more muscles. If you're using more magic, you'll notice that his eyes will become darker. And that means what we're trying to do, we're trying to get it so that gamers can not create their own naked men, but create their own heroes. And those heroes reflect what sort of player you are. Because that's the first thing about role-playing games. Why should you play someone else's hero? Why not play your own hero? So at the end of Fable, you can look at your character and say, this is what I'm like, and my character is different from your character. So he's just going to, I put some clothes on now. Do you notice the resemblance between Simon here and the main character? There is, because he can choose his own hairstyles, he can choose his own beards, he can choose when he cuts his hair. All of that technology, that morphing technology is built in. So if you've been playing it for a few hours, you'll notice your hero becomes more and more unique. Now, as we're going there, let me talk a little bit about the combat system. The combat system is based on really simple, easy to pick up, but really, really hard to totally master. You've got things called flourishes in there. Flourishes enable you to pull off special combat moves depending on how experienced your character is. You can combine physical combat, swordplay combat, with magical abilities. You can combine swordplay with range combat, any combination you like, so that halfway through the game your character may look like Cohen the Barbarian. He may have huge muscles, the ground may slightly shake as he moves around, but he'd be useless in stealth. Alternatively, you may have used lighter weapons, you may have used ranged weapons, and he'll look more like Bruce Lee. He'll have lots of muscles, won't be so strong, but he can be really stealthy, he can hide in shadows, he can evolve himself as you play the character. And that is all partially down to what you want, partially down to what the way you play the character. That's the first thing. The second thing, you notice in the top left-hand corner of the screen, it's just a little gameplay mechanic. There's something called a combat multiplier. And a combat multiplier, what it does is, every successful hit you make on an opponent, it goes up by 1. And that multiplies the experience you pick up off the ground. And that means that you go into battle, and your combat multiplier is going up, Every piece of experience you pick up is multiplied by that, but every time you're hit, your combat multiplier goes back to 0. So it means, as a gamer, what you're doing is gambling on combat situations, and with that one mechanic alone, it just introduces a whole level of new gameplay into role-playing games. Hard to explain, but once you pick it up, I think you'll see what I mean. The other thing is that at any point in the game, any of your friends can bring a joypad along, plug it in, and you can play up to 4 players, multiplayer, simultaneously. I won't go into the details of that, but it enables you to import your characters in. The cool thing about that is that I could have an evil character, Simon could have a good character. That means he could go into the town and be nice to everyone, and then later I could go in and be nasty. So in Fable, everything you do, I've spoken about everything you do changes the world, but one of the most significant things are towns themselves, and we'll be looking at in a second. Simon's just been asked to pay a toll. He's chosen to just kill the people off, which is not very nice. That's made him a little bit more evil just because he did that. No one asked him to do it. It wasn't a question that he selected. He just chose to do it that way. You notice that we've got multiple combat. People actually learn to gather around you and fight. Simon's able to take on up to 8 opponents simultaneously. He's just used burning hands to that's Assassin Rush. There are about 20 different magic systems which you can combine together. Each magic system has a minimum of 3 different power-ups, which again you can combine together, and we need that level of power-ups in the game so that people can create their own unique heroes. Simon, should we pop off to a town, do you think? I don't think we've got time to do the quest, but I want to show you what a town life is like, and also talk a bit about, you've seen a bit about the combat. I can show you all the magical effects in the combat you like, but I think it's the town life in the simulation. I mean, there's an epic story to the whole of Fable, but it's some of the unique stuff you can do. Now, firstly, towns get to know you. If you're really nice in a town, they'll be more friendly towards you. You'll notice that some of the kids in the town will start dressing like you, will start cutting their hair like you, because you're a hero. You're a bit like a pop star. You'll notice that kids, now they notice Simon is a little bit more evil now. He's got dark eyes. He's going to have problems chatting up girls like this, which you can do incidentally. In Fable, if you want to, your main hero can get married, and I won't go into any details here, but you can eventually have children if you want. And I won't go into the details of how you do that. I think most of you should know that anyway. But being able to chat up people, being able to do weird things in town, just try. I saw a tester at Molyneux testing Fable last week. And he went up to this girl and he brought her a rose, and the girl said, that's one of the women screaming, by the way, because Simon's a bit evil. He brought her a rose, and she really liked the rose, and they walked down the road together, hand in hand. And then this tester took all his clothes off except his underpants and stood in front of her, and she just screamed and ran away. And that's the sort of mad things that you can do, and all the systems within the town will work. You notice on the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, you've got the crosshairs. This is where there's another new system in Fable called expressions. If any of you have played role-playing games before, you may have sat through countless hours of cutscenes waiting for that piece of information that you need to move on. Well, in Fable, you can sit through the cutscenes or not, but at any time you can pick out some of the expressions that you may see in the cutscene. So one of the expressions Simon's picked up is belching. He was in a tavern and he saw someone drink a beer and that person belched, and he learned that. So he's now walking around town and belching at people and seeing how people react. And that is the point of the game. We really want people to sort of experiment with the game, experiment with how to play it, experiment with different ways. And sure enough, it's a hugely vast world that we've got here. So, have you shown anything in the town, or do you want to show some of the morphs, perhaps? We've got obviously all the weapons and equipment you'd expect in a role-playing game, lots of different swords, lots of different combat mechanics, real-time weather, real-time day and night. You've got different costumes. If you really, really want to, you can kill someone just to get what they're wearing. But, the whole world will treat you terribly, and, whether we leave that in or not, I don't know what's wrong. If you want to, you can wander around town like this. You notice your character will age as you play the game, depending on how long you're taking to play the game. You start this game off when you're 15 years old. I reckon that if you play the game as fast as you possibly can, you can complete it by the time you're around about sort of late 20s. But if you're a bit slower, you can take your character all the way up to sort of late 40s. Any hairstyle you can pick, you barbers to tailor hairstyles and whatever you want. You can tattoo your character however you want to. Really trying to get that unique element in there. And, you know, there are side effects to everything you do. For example, even walking in sunlight means that your character will tan and change. There's tons of different monsters and creatures in there. Some huge, some small. Sometimes you have to join up with other heroes to take on quests. Sometimes you have to do it individually. So what I'd like to do is ask if anyone here has got any questions they'd like to ask about Fable or about anything else. Yeah, and Simon will often do a quest, do the graveyard quest. Does anyone have any questions about Fable? I mean, obviously, we've only got 20 minutes to show it, so it's not enough time to show detail. Question down there.
Die or something?
The question is, can the character die? It's a really, really good question. I think the answer to that is that we're trying to build a game that doesn't mean that you die all the time. Because I know that what you're going to do is just reload the game anyway. So we've got some magical abilities. I won't go into many details. So the ability to just step back in time just a little bit before a death situation. But there are occasions that you can fail the game essentially and die. Any other questions? There's a question in the middle there.
Is it an open-ended game, or could you also play on forever, more or less, like, for example, Black and White 2, which we saw earlier today?
Yeah, the question is it open-ended or is there an end? There is a story. That story changes on what sort of person your character are, but it definitely has a beginning, a middle, and end. Once you've finished the story, you're still a hero in the world. You can still go on. You can end up buying, because one of the things I wanted in Fable is, why just buy weapons and clothes? Why not buy houses and shops? And why not rent out houses? Why not do some trading? So you can end up owning a whole town, being the mayor of the whole town. And within the game you can absolutely do all that. So you may finish the story, but there are still quests and heroic deeds to do in the world. So I really want, I hate the idea that a game has to completely end just because I finish the story. Any other questions? One right at the back. I'll have to get to.
Is it possible to play Fable with Xbox Live?
Yeah, the question is Xbox Live. At the moment, we started the development of Fable before Xbox Live, and so at the moment there's no plans to do that, but we might well change that. We're thinking of some things, especially to do with the multiplayer. The other questions? There's a question over here somewhere, and there's that, right at the back.
Will it be possible to play a female character as well, or just a male character?
Yeah, in fact, in the original design, you could play a male or a female, but there are over 1,000 totally unique animations for the main character. That's 1,000 total animations, and replicating that for a female character was a huge amount of work, so we actually had to cut back the female character side. It's just crashed incidentally, so any questions about why it's gone very, very dark, that's the reason why. A couple of last questions, anybody? Question back there. Sorry? Yeah, the question is it possible to keep on playing the game when you've failed a quest? Yes, sometimes it is, but sometimes there are obvious reasons why you want to do a quest. Sometimes I've noticed that some people intentionally fail a quest to see what would happen, and we really want people to experiment with that. Anyway, thank you very much for seeing Fable. One other question. Sorry,
Could you tell us a little bit a competition between the heroes in the country and the protagonists?
Very good question. Competition between the heroes. There is at the Hero Guild a table of who is the top 10 heroes. And depending on what you do in the game, is you move up and down that table. And I thought that was really important in the role-playing game, because most of the time when you play a role-playing game, you seem to be the only person in the world doing heroic things. But in Fable, you're given a quest and you just see one of the other heroes, say Thunder, has just gone off and taken another quest. And I'm thinking, oh God, if he completes that one, I'm going to lose a couple of places on the hero table. And you can intentionally try and interfere with their missions and try and make them look bad. I mean, one of the things that we found experimenting with is making other heroes look bad in front of other people. Doing that special move. If you can get villagers around you, they'll cheer you rather than him. So that's a very, very important part. That will go on. Sometimes, you'll make friends with heroes, and sometimes have sad endings. I mean, for example, one example not to do with heroes is if you choose to get married, we obviously don't want you to settle down. So the only thing I can say is don't expect your wife to leave, which is very sad, but you are supposed to be here. Any other questions? One more there, and one more there.
Can you finish all the missions regardless if you're good or evil?
Yeah, the question is, can we finish all the missions regardless if you're good or evil? Sometimes you can choose to take people on missions. Sometimes you're required to do it alone. There are some personal quests to do with the story which you have to complete alone. Other times you can call people. Sometimes you may have. There's one example that you may be competing against one of your friends in the Heroes Guild because you're heroes. So there is a variety. Okay, thank you very much indeed. I'll be doing another demo, I think, of Fable tomorrow, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much.